So, welcome everybody. And this time I am asked to talk about the three trainings, what we call lapasum in Tibetan. And this lapasum, or the three trainings, as you know, is a kind of abbreviation of Eightfold Path. Buddha the main teaching, as you know, was Four Noble Truths. And the way or the path is Eightfold Path. So in Eightfold Path, all teachings, all paths of the Buddha is included. So therefore, you know, when Buddha was passing away or about to enter into parinirvana, and he asked many times if anybody has any questions, they can ask. And then when nobody had any questions, then one Brahmin appeared who had never seen Buddha before. And he wanted to see Buddha and ask a question. And he was asked to come near Buddha and ask this question. And he asked, you know, one thing puzzles me, that there are many teachers, there are many great teachers. At the time of Buddha, there were lots of very famous teachers, like 6 main kind of, you know, munis and things like that. And he said that, you know, all these teachers say that their teaching is the best, and they are the best, and they are the right. And but how do we know, you know, who is the better and who is the best and who is the right? And Buddha said, the only thing you can do and you should do is to see who is actually living the teachings, living the Eightfold Path. And if anybody is living the Eightfold Path, then he is the right teacher. He is good, or she is good. So he says that, you know, the way to examine the teacher is by how he or she is living his life or her life. And this can be examined through Eightfold Path. And at the same time, since 3 trainings is the gist or the quintessence of the Eightfold Path, so 3 trainings, if anybody is truly living by these 3 trainings, then he or she is truly practicing Dharma. That's why, you know, in Tibet, or in Tibetan, when we write a letter to a monk or a lama, we address, Lapsum Jemje, the one who is decorated with these three trainings, who is beautifully decorated by the three trainings. If you say that, that means you are really, talking very highly of that person. So therefore, these three trainings is the main practice of Dharma, main practice of Buddhism. And so what are these three trainings? Lapa Tsutrimji Lapa, Lapa Tinginji Lapa, and Lapa Shirapji Lapa. The training in the Shila, training in meditation or samadhi, and the training in pragya or wisdom. The Shila, although these three are very interrelated, it's just like one integral, interrelated and intertwined. So it is very difficult to say which is first. You can't say this is first and this is second and this is third, because it's all intertwined. But since we have to start somewhere, usually we can start with Shila probably, because Shila is said to be or is regarded as the ground. It is, Nagarjuna says that the Shila is like the earth, which is the basis of everything. If there is no earth, nothing can grow on it, nothing can survive, because everybody is based on the earth, on the ground. So therefore, if there is no Shila, if there is no training of the Shila, then no other qualities or no other, positive things grow. So Shila, what is Shila? Sometimes it is translated as discipline. I don't know. I have some doubts whether discipline is the right word for that, Shila. It's basically right living. In the Eightfold Path, the first one, right view, is the pragya. Next four is the Shila. Right thought, right speech, right action, and right livelihood. These all four is Shila. What it means is that, in your activities or actions of your mind, your speech, and your body, at least you don't do something that would be harmful to yourself and to others. And then, if possible, do something that is helpful to yourself and to others now and in the long run. Even if you cannot do something that is truly beneficial and helpful, at least try not to do something that's harmful. Abstain from doing something harmful to yourself and others. That's Shila. So therefore, it is, therefore, in order to train in Shila, we need to train a little bit in the wisdom, because we need to know what is harmful and what is beneficial to others, what is harmful and beneficial to myself, and what is harmful and beneficial in the long run, and also now in the short terms. So to understand this, we need some wisdom, so therefore, that's why it's very interrelated. So first we try to understand, what are the actions of body, speech, and mind, which is creating pain, problem, difficulties, suffering for yourself and for others. And then recognizing that, then you don't do it because it is not good for you. You don't do it because it is not good for others. You don't do it because it's not good now. You don't do it because it is not good for you in the long run also. So therefore, because you don't want to hurt yourself, because you don't want to do something that will bring pain and problem and difficulties, basically to yourself, and then to others also. And also, if you do something that will bring, suffering and pain and problem to others, that will be not good for you also in the long run. So when we understand this, then, we don't want to, we don't wish to do those actions. And that's why it's not really, like when you say discipline, it's a little bit like there's a sense of, you want to do it, but you stop yourself doing it. But it is not, when we know that if we put our hand into the fire, it will burn. And a little child who doesn't know that it will burn might put its finger into the fire. But any adult who knows that it will burn you will not put their finger or the hand in the fire. It doesn't need discipline. It doesn't need, what can you say? It doesn't need a kind of order or command or a rule or a law. There is no law saying that you cannot put your finger into the fire because it's not necessary. It's not needed. Because nobody wants to do that, because nobody wants to be burnt. So in the same way, the Shila is that by understanding, the consequence of our actions very clearly, so that, we would not want to do something that would bring undesirable and problematic result for us. And we would like to do more and more actions that will bring more pleasant, more beneficial, more useful actions for ourselves and others. So therefore, the Shila is very much based on wisdom and very much based on understanding. And so therefore, it is, I think, very important to know that and to be very clear. And so therefore, even to kind of train in the Shila, we need to really try to understand clearly the cause and effect, and things like that, so that, we can live, we can train, we can act in the right way without having to, having to try hard. So this is the best way of training in the Shila, very clearly seeing the consequences of the actions. And so therefore, it's not, forcing us to do something or not do something, but, because we know what is good for us, what is good for myself, what is good, so therefore you would really want to act in this way. But of course, we need wisdom, we need understanding, but we also need mindfulness, because even if we know, sometimes out of habitual tendencies, out of negative emotions, out of carelessness, we do things with our body, with our speech, with our mind that might be, negative and not good and harmful. Then when we catch that with our mindfulness, when we know this with our mindfulness, then we stop doing that. And that's the training. Training is basically mindfulness. Catching, first knowing what is right, what is not right, what is good, what is not good, and then being mindful and catching it, and then not doing it. If you have done it, then not doing it in the future, stop doing anymore, and things like that. This is the, or to encourage us to do more positive things. That is, and joyfully. That's why in Eightfold Path, the mindfulness and, efforts, right efforts, is something that goes with everything else. The mindfulness, right efforts, has to be together with all these three. Of course, I don't think we need to discuss too much about, right thoughts, because it's thoughts here means, what comes to our mind, but also it means emotions. positive emotions like kindness, compassion, and things like that, and negative emotions like anger, hatred, jealousy, and things like that. Right speech, is to talk honestly, truthfully, use speech in a way that will bring positive things in the people, bring unity and harmony in the situations and in the community and things like that. Not saying bad things to everybody, not shouting at, not speaking with hatred and things like that. Not criticizing everybody, not saying bad things, especially if you don't know whether it's true or not. But speaking positive things, trying to understand, try to see positive qualities in people, and try to, because the more we talk negative things about other people, ourselves become negative. That negative thing becomes our own, state of mind, and then it's very difficult to get rid of it, and it makes ourselves more dark. So then, right, action is to do things, whatever action of the body that is harmful and is bad for others and ourselves, like killing or raping or stealing or things like that. Not to do that, and do something that is helpful, that is useful, that is beneficial. So these are the, basically it's not difficult to understand, but it's it's difficult to integrate with ourselves. That's the Shila. And this is, it's not something that we do in a retreat for some time. It's not something that we, the training is, like we have a special kind of a session for this. It's not like this. It's our usual daily life, in life, in daily life, we try to, do this, which is not only good for, for liberation. It's very good for liberation. It is very good for, for transforming our mind and, our whole system into a more transcendental state of mind. But it's very good for now. It's very good in a worldly way also, if you want to make a world a better place, if we want to make our life have less problem, if we maintain this Shila, I think most of our problems will not be there. So therefore, it's not just, spiritual or not just religious. It's not just, those kind of, what we call something to do with Dharma only. It is something very important for our life, the world, daily life, because, what kind of world we will create, what kind of society we will have, what kind of family we will have, what kind of person I will be, depends on how I live my life. And that is basically the Shila. And then I don't know, maybe I should talk about meditation or samadhi. Now, wisdom is very important. Sometimes we talk about, that's why usually, when we talk about Eightfold Path, we talk about right view first. Because that's the basis, if without right view, without understanding, none of these things, neither you can have the training in the Sila, nor can we have training in meditation. But meditation becomes important because, it is to, we need, I want to live my life in the right way. I want to maintain my Sila. I want to, act with my body, speech, and mind in the right way. But if I am, completely out of control, if my mind is completely out of control, if my emotions are completely out of control, if I'm totally, without any, if I don't know how to put my habits and my habitual tendencies and my emotions in some kind of a control, then I would not be able to live in the right way. That's why, Buddha said about the Dharma in a very short, stanza. Don't commit any negative actions. Do all positive things, and then tame your mind. So taming your mind, that's meditation. Of course, in Buddhism, most of the teachings in Buddhism is on how to tame your mind. Even wisdom is about how to tame your mind. All the meditations are about how to tame your mind. All the practices are how to tame your mind. So therefore, meditation is basically, trying to work on our mind. So therefore, as in Sila, also in meditation, the two most important things, the tools that we have is mindfulness and right efforts. So we start with what we call shamatha meditation. Then we try to, start with just looking at ourselves, looking at our mind, looking what's going on in my mind. All meditations start with that. What is happening? Am I, what thoughts are coming in? What emotions are happening? How I am reacting? All this, looking at myself, at my mind. If I find that I am, I have lots of negative feelings, negative emotions, very kind of, out of control distracted all the time and things like that, then I know that, uh, I'm not doing very well. I could do something if these negative emotions and lots of uncontrolled thoughts and, reactions, I could do something that is not so good, not so useful, not so beneficial to myself as well as others. When I'm distracted, when I'm out of control, where I have lots of emotionally disturbed. So therefore, it is very important for me to say that, okay, I should not be like that. I should be a little bit more calm, more clear, more under control, more, in harmony. Because otherwise, I will be not happy. I'm disturbed and I am distracted and I am, too many thoughts and emotions happening and reactions. I'm not happy. It's not just I'm not happy. I could act in such a way that I would create lots of more problems for myself and for others as well. So therefore, it is necessary. If I want something good for myself, that I'm much more clearer and much more calmer. And then many times people will say that, oh, I want to be calm, but I can't be because all these things are happening in the world. So many difficult things are happening. So many, things are happening that is disturbing me. So many, situations that is, this is, most of the people have this kind of thing. There's so much problems in my life, so therefore I can't be calm. I can't be, clear. I can't be controlled. I can't be in a peaceful way. Yes, of course, so many problems coming, so many disturbance, so many negative things, so many people doing so many negative things. Yes, of course, that is difficult. But, if you just give that excuse and then you keep on doing that, then there will be never a time when everything is good and you are, peaceful and everything, And these are the times when things are not good and lots of problems are happening and situation is not, that's the time when we need to be more careful about, our actions and reactions and, emotions and things like that, because that's the time when you can do lots of damage to yourself. And, however much we worry, however much we are angry, however much we are upset, that's not going to change anything. That is not going to make things better. So therefore, the more we see that there's, difficult things happening, different problems are happening, the more we need to say, okay, this is even more important, that we have to be calm, we have to be clear, we have to, bring peace and harmony to myself, because it's, that's the most crucial time for us to do something. We cannot change the whole world. We cannot change everybody. We cannot even change maybe anybody directly. If there's a chance to do anything, that's ourselves. So even if you want to change the whole world, we have to start changing first ourselves. That's why, the meditation starts with that looking at our mind. And then see, how is my mind? If it is really disturbed, if it is very angry, it's very upset, it's too much jealous, too much envious, too much worried, too much attached, too much greedy, then you say to ourselves, it's not that good to be like this. It doesn't bring the real good things for us. So we need to allow it to relax. And only I can do that. Nobody else can do it for me. If I'm upset, only I can allow that upset mind to be relaxed. If I'm angry, it's only I who can say, okay, I'm angry, but the more angry I am, the more destructive I will become. It's no use. So let me cool down. Let me calm down. It's not good for me. It's not good for anybody. So therefore, let's find a different route to solve any problem. So if I can do that, it will change, because, all these negative emotions and negative reactions, it's very strong. It's very, but there's one thing good about it, is that all these things change, and sometimes change very quickly. To maintain my anger, or maintain my upsetness, or maintain my negative emotions, I need to find it, I need to feed all the time, like, you have to have the fire going, you have to put fuel all the time, otherwise it will just die down. Same is all negative emotions. So therefore, if you stop putting the fuel, it will calm down. And the best way to do that is just to be in the present moment. Not focusing on, the causes and, and the, why I am upset, and why I need to be upset, why I need to be angry, why I need to feel like this bad thing. But I just let be. I just allow my present moment to be just present moment. That's why meditation always starts with focusing on our breathing. I breathe in, and I am aware of breathing in. When I breathe out, I am aware of breathing out, but I'm not thinking about my upsetness, my anger, my, all these negative emotions, just that. And that can, because I change my focus of my mind changes. Because where I focus my mind, that becomes active, that becomes strong, So if I focus my mind on something not good, then I become upset, I become angry, I become sad, I become, But if I stop focusing my mind there, and something positive, but not even positive, just something neutral, like just breathing, very soon that, the situation might be continuing, it doesn't change anything outside maybe, but your mind changes, your feeling changes, your state of mind changes. So therefore, this is a most wonderful method to change yourself, even if the situation doesn't change. change your emotions, even if the situation doesn't change. Change your state of mind, even if anything else doesn't change. And because your state of mind have changed, your way of seeing things can change for better. You are not as much disturbed as you have been disturbed before. You are not, upset as much as you have been upset before. So therefore, actually, it helped you. It helped myself. So therefore, of course, this is, what we can do is very simple and very small at the moment. But if that becomes our way of life, that becomes our way of dealing with any situation, then just by learning that, I could actually totally transform my life. Instead of becoming very worried, very angry, very upset, very disturbed state of mind and person, I could become a calm and clear and, peaceful and patient and kind person. And if I'm kind to myself, if I'm compassionate to myself and others, if I become calm and if I become, more, because when that happens, then my wisdom also, awakens. And that I could actually learn how to be in a more better situation, a more better, human being, more better, actions, how to live my life in a better way, more controlled, more right, more, more joyful. Because, when you're totally out of control, you can't be joyful. When you're in control, when you are in, when you're present, when you are mindful, when you are, in a positive state of mind, clear and peaceful, then you can be much, much more joyful and much more, nice. Actually, whether you live a kind of good, joyful and positive worldly life, and you have a very, strong spiritual progress, it's in the same line. Actually, it's just a degree. So therefore, we can start with, learning how to live our life a little bit more, wisely, more nicely, more, kind and positive for ourselves and others, then to slowly develop into more wiser and more deeper level of, meditation and things like that. Because how we are, how we actually are, how we see things, how we feel things is up to our mind. And so therefore, if our mind becomes calm and clear and really peaceful, everything becomes peaceful, everything becomes positive, everything becomes beautiful, And so therefore, you become kind and compassionate and when yourself becomes like that, then everything around you also seems like more positive, more kind, more nice, And that's how, you you create. That's why sometimes it is, in teachings, in Buddhist teachings, sometimes it is said that, if you do those things, negative things, you will go to hell. If you do the positive things, you will go to heaven. And sometimes we doubt whether there is somewhere called hell down there and somebody calls heaven up there. Maybe there is, maybe there is not, but it's certain that if, I think it's almost clear, that we can create hell for ourselves if we want to, rather easily, very easily actually. And we can create heaven also, for ourselves. Maybe not as easily, but, by ourselves. If we do the opposite of how we create hell. This is very clear. So therefore, meditation is about that, learning how to calm our mind. And then, of course, if you go a little bit deeper and understand, what am I? How everything is. If you know the nature of myself and know the nature of all the things a little bit more clearly, then that will give us much clearer and much stronger, way of understanding it, learning how to be. And when we can see that, there is no need, there is really, no need to have so much aversion, so much fear, so much attachment to anything, then, we learn to be free from fear and too much greed and attachment. And then there is no need for any of those negative emotions like, anger and upset and things like that. So, and when that happens, and when we really, truly learn that it's not necessary to run after something all the time and to run away from something all the time, and this aversion and, attachment and all these things are not really necessary, we are liberated. But that is not so easy, but, that's what we call enlightenment. This enlightenment is actually to truly understand ourselves in the right way, And that is what actually wisdom happens. And that wisdom has to come from meditation. And the meditation wisdom is, of course, that understanding, that how to see things clearly, how to understand, how my mind works, how I act and react, and, how all this affects, but also the deeper way of seeing how I am. So therefore, then, meditation and the training in the wisdom, to learn to see things, to learn to, you need the wisdom, as we already discussed. In Shila, you need wisdom in meditation, and you need wisdom. The wisdom is the main thing that actually liberates us. But wisdom also is necessary to, to know what is the right way to live our life. Wisdom is necessary. So the wisdom is everywhere. So therefore, how do we get wisdom? No? In one way, it's very difficult. Another way, it's very simple. Just to try to look, try to watch, try to see, how things are, directly and understand, So therefore, of course, we also learn from other people. We learn from teachers. We learn from, Buddhas. We learn from, great beings of the past. But also, when we study them, we listen to them, we read the teachings, and then we also try to reflect on them. We try to understand them. We try to ask questions ourselves. But then, actually, the ultimate wisdom is our meditation. Means like really what we have learned, we try to absorb and we try to, integrate ourselves with that. Instead of living that understanding as just a thought, a theory. That's why we always say that wisdom is through listening or study, reflection, and meditation. And so therefore, meditation is regarded as one of the main means to generate or to develop wisdom. And this meditation is not just sitting and, but to, sitting and just calm down, not that meditation, but learning to, whatever we have learned, to integrate with ourselves, to live that. So that, there's nothing called, Dharma practice. We do for like half an hour or 1 hour, and then the life that we live the rest of the time. But, how we live our life can be integrated with our understanding. And whatever little understanding we have, that we integrate, that we make it as part of our practice, or, it's not practice something separate, but the life. When that happens, then I think we can really transform a little bit. Of course, it's not like, sometimes people say, I've been meditating for so many years and nothing happens. It's not about how many years we've been meditating. It's more about how much you have been integrating into your life. That's the whole point. So sometimes, some people who have, no deep or no big kind of intellectual, studies or anything like that, who have not done anything very, particular long retreats and long practices and things like that, become very good practitioners and very, transform very, very much. And sometimes people who have really scholars and teachers and, and they also not very much, practiced, not very good results. That's because how much we integrate. If I know a little bit, but I really put it into my life, then I could be much better practitioner than somebody like, like me, who have studied a lot, received lots of teachings, maybe can talk a lot, but, not that much essence, then it's different, So that's why, that's the whole point. So, these 3 trainings, I mean, of course, the whole Buddhist literature is about these 3 trainings. And there are, hundreds of books on that and all these things. So all those things, it's not even necessary, but it's not possible to talk about. But, I think it is very important to have the essence, and if I have that essence, then at least you know how to practice. It's not about, how many mantras did I do, or how many, hours of meditation would I do, or how long, how many years I've been, a Buddhist or a monk or a nun or a retreatant or things like that. But how much I actually use these 3 trainings on myself, and how much I actually integrate it with myself. It's not that you don't have to be a monk, you don't have to be a nun, you don't have to be, a lama, you don't have to be something really special. We just have to integrate with our life. So that's the main thing. That's the most important thing about. That doesn't mean that you should not study and you should not become a monk or nun, or you should not do retreat, and you should. That doesn't mean that. I didn't say that, but I think this is the whole point. So I think that's all I have to say. So maybe thank you very much, and I would like to thank Dharmadatta for giving me this opportunity to talk to you.